Y'all, welcome to Faith and Politics today with me, Eileen Carter. We have a great show for you today. We're going to be talking civic engagement. I'm sure it's one of my favorite topics, and I'm sure you know that. Huh? Uh, New Orleanians really need to get back in the game. We need to know the rules so we can help referee from afar. Our elected officials say they're all about accountability and transparency. And unfortunately, we just haven't been seeing that. We're hearing a lot of the trash collection controversy. And if you follow me on social media, I actually did a post from the 2022 year when we had our last trash collection controversy. So it seems like trash collection controversies are a thing in New Orleans. And so I encourage everyone to stay on top of it and to really get in the game and to see what's going on. And if you haven't gotten my book, make sure you get my book, Faith in Politics Today. It is available on Amazon, y'all. I'm all excited about it. And good afternoon. I got that right today. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to Faith and Politics with me, Eileen. If you missed a show, you can always catch up. Today is episode 31, Civic Engagement in New Orleans. You can follow us everywhere that you podcast. We are on Apple, we're on Spotify, we're on Google, we're on Amazon, we're on Samsung, we're on lots of different places. So make sure if you missed a show, you can always follow up and connect with us. But today we're going to be talking about civic engagement and why it matters, as well as Give NOLA Day. The early giving starts today and it's through May 5th, and then Give NOLA Day is May 6th. I am supporting one of the nonprofits, Don't Stop Dreaming. It is run by Coach Derek in the city of New Orleans, and Coach Derek was one of my son's coaches when he was little, and so I just like to support those who have supported us. So shout out to Harrell, Harrell for life. Anybody who has ever played for Harrell, you will understand what I mean. HU for life. We are about that life. So I will be giving so if you like to give, and of course it's a 501c3, so you can use it as a tax deduction, but you can give on Give NOLA and just search Don't Stop Dreaming, and it's a little red stop sign with some information there, and you'll see it. They really do programs for at youth risk. He started with a camp, and he's really growing to year-round services, and so that's what the fundraiser is all about, so he can have year-round services. So shout out to Don't Stop Dreaming and to Give NOLA. So if you are in that realm and you give, or you know people who give, please give. If you're not, and you can just share the information, it's in all of my social media platforms. Don't Stop Dreaming and Give NOLA. It's a big thing for us, and especially because we are talking about civic engagement from my book, Faith in Politics. So I felt it was like a good connection for the day with civic engagement and Give NOLA. So I'm going to read a little bit from the book, and this is from page 21, because New Orleans has a framework for civic engagement. And so if you did not know that New Orleans has a framework for civic engagement, I want to make you aware of the framework that New Orleans has. And so if you aren't a part of it, that we can become a part of it and we can grow those services that New Orleans offers. So, and this is from page 21 of Faith and Politics Today. Civic engagement and elections. This is beginning part 2. Civic engagement and elections are fundamental components of New Orleans governance. Our structure works to ensure that residents have avenues to participate in decision-making processes and influence city policies. So this section is about civic engagement and elections. We will just be delving into civic engagement today. We will jump into elections on next Tuesday. So make sure you tune in for that. And again, if you missed a show, you can go to everywhere that you podcast and listen and catch up. We are on episode 31. Can you believe it? Today is episode 31, but it really is. And so make sure you catch up. Episode 1 through 19 are more prophetic words. And then episodes 20 through 30 at this point are more government based, except the last episode 30, was my testimony with regard to the drive-by shooting that I was in with over 40 shots, and none of them touched me. So If you don't have a relationship with Jesus, get one, because you never know when you're going to leave your house and you may not be coming home. So it was a very real thing for me. And so I like to share that testimony just because it will definitely help someone else. So civic engagement in New Orleans. The Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Engagement, which is also known as NEO, N-E-O, funny like Neo in the Matrix because I dodged all those bullets. Anyway, is dedicated to fostering public participation and facilitating communication between cities. No, I put that on Do Not Disturb. So I don't know how that rang. Okay, I'll start that again. The Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Engagement, NEO, is dedicated to fostering public participation and facilitating communication between city government and residents. NEO's initiatives include, and I got a lot of this information online when I wrote the book, so I can, give it directly to you, directly how the city's giving it to you. So the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Engagement offers a Civic Leadership Academy. So if you did not know this, you can tap in and you can join this program. It's an 8-week program offering residents an in-depth understanding of city operations, empowering them to lead community initiatives. So there is a way for you to partner with the City of New Orleans to find out what's going on. They offer an 8-week program that gives residents an in-depth understanding of city operations. I know they go through different departments so people can really have an understanding of what's going on. Y'all, I lived in New Orleans. I'm from New Orleans, but the education I got while working for the City of New Orleans for 3 years ain't nothing nice. And so I do encourage everyone to, I always say this, I was like, everyone in New Orleans should have to work for the City of New Orleans for a week, and then you'd have a whole new understanding for city government. And that's the truth, but it just is what it is. So the Office of Neighborhood Engagement, they also offer a neighborhood summit. It's an annual event bringing together residents, city officials, and community organizations to discuss and address local issues. And last but not least, they offer community office hours, which are regular sessions where residents can meet with city officials in their office to discuss concerns and provide feedback. And so they go throughout the city and they meet at libraries and things like that where you can meet with them. And so if you did not know that these services were available, you need to know that they're available. So you can find all of this information on NOLA.gov/neighborhood engagement. So let me repeat that for you. You can get this information regarding the Civic Leadership Academy, the neighborhood summits, and the community office hours for the residents at NOLA.gov/neighborhood engagement. One more time, NOLA.gov/neighborhood engagement. So with that, what are the effective communication strategies? This is currently what the New Orleans City is using to connect to the residents. So I want to offer them to you, and you tell me if you feel like they are effective in the comments. I'm going to just let you know what they are, and you can tell me. So to reach residents with information about civic engagement and elections, the city employs various methods. 1. NOLA 311, a centralized service providing residents with information on city services, including election details. Community outreach events, participation in local events to disseminate information and encourage civic involvement. Digital platforms, utilizing the city's official website and social media channels to share updates and engage with the community. And public meetings and hearings, hosting sessions where residents can learn about and discuss upcoming elections and civic initiatives. So these are the main 4 strategies that the City of New Orleans currently uses to engage with their residents. What I want to know is, do you feel like they are working? Do you feel like they are reaching you? Do you feel like you are getting the information that you need to be informed? I also say this because the other main source of engagement is emails. You can go on to NOLA.gov, and if you scroll to the bottom, you can subscribe to the emails for the City of New Orleans. You can choose which departments you want emails from, and then you will get emails from those departments. Like if you just want to know about traffic things, you can get information about that. If you just want to know about your area, you can get information about that. If you just want, information on libraries or NOPD, you can choose You can pick and choose what you want information about, so you don't have to get every email that leaves from the city. But what I will say is, everybody in the city does not have an email. So making that the one and only, or making that the foremost outreach platform for press releases and things of that sort, I think that they should really think of other options, because most people, not most people, some people do not have emails, and everybody does not read their emails. Most people are on their phone. So I would love for the city to kind of start looking at different ways to reach the residents in a form that they engage with and interact with the most. So that's why I'm asking you what works for you. So maybe we can, um, you know, uh, we can kind of reach out and see, like, hey, could we work out these forms of communication because A, B, and C isn't working? So, just to summarize that, civic engagement in New Orleans, the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Engagement is dedicated to fostering public participation and facilitating communication between city government and residents. You can find all of their information at nola.gov/neighborhood engagement. They handle the Civic Leadership Academy, the Neighborhood Summit, and community office hours. The city also uses strategies as public meetings and hearings, digital platforms, community outreach events, and NOLA 311 to reach out to residents. So make sure you connect to those, because civic engagement is so important. We've been seeing a lack of it in the past years, and it's just kind of been decreasing ever since, y'all. I know we don't have the trust in our elected officials like we used to have, but we really need to light the fire underneath them, especially in this election season, if we want to see anything happen. Because if we don't get our voices heard in this current cycle, not this next cycle, this current cycle, we will not be heard for 4 years. I'm not kidding. If you just paid attention to this last administration, I don't know if we were heard in the past 4 years, or really beyond that, because the residents spoke up in 2022 and said they have issues. We wrote a list, and they have not been addressed. And so that's also a point of contention. But if we as residents get together and pull together like we did, I believe we can be a stronger New Orleans. So I wanted to give you a little bit of history regarding the civic engagement in New Orleans over like the past 75 years. And I know that really sounds like a lot, but it's crazy because my dad passed away in 2018. I'm like, my dad would have been like 75, a little bit over at this point. So I'm like, it's not that far off. And so I just want to read you a little bit from the book that I wrote with regard to the history of civic engagement in New Orleans over the past 75 years. Civic engagement in New Orleans has deep history shaped by the city's diverse communities, particularly African American neighborhoods. Over the past 75 years, grassroots organizations and advocacy groups have been at the forefront of major social, economic, and political changes. From the civil rights movement to modern-day civic engagement focused on voter rights, affordable housing, and racial justice, groups like Bold, Soul, Coup, Progressive, etc., and Now Vote have contributed significantly to New Orleans' landscape. These organizations were once neighborhood-based and embraced community needs, while collectively supporting each other during elections to make their voices heard. Unfortunately, many of these groups have fallen off. There is currently no cohesive effort, and we need unity to effect change, bringing everyone to the table. Neighborhood engagement plays a critical role in civic engagement, particularly in cities like New Orleans, where diverse communities face unique social, economic, and political challenges. We are a gumbo. By focusing on the local level, neighborhood engagement ensures that the voices of residents are heard and that their needs and concerns are addressed in policymaking processes. This localized neighborhood approach allows for more tailored solutions to issues like housing, education, policing, and economic development, empowering communities to shape their own futures. And I just feel like we haven't had a lot of that recently. And with this current administration, and honestly, we don't even see this current administration at the podium anymore taking questions from the press. They have disengaged themselves, and it has really been visible in the community that there is a lack thereof. I'll put it that way. So, the vital role of neighborhood engagement in civic life. Neighborhood engagement is crucial in building strong, resilient, and inclusive communities. It ensures that all voices are included in decision making processes. New strategies to increase participation, such as leveraging digital tools, promoting participatory budgeting, building partnerships, and addressing systematic barriers, can expand access to civic engagement opportunities. By embracing new strategies, civic organizations, local governments, and community leaders can foster a more engaged, informed, and empowered population, leading to better decision making, stronger communities, and more equitable society. Neighborhood engagement is not just about participation, it's about fostering ownership and building a collective vision for the future. So, with that being said, I do have to say that I was participatory in this in a certain way. I used to be the social media manager for the city of New Orleans, and from 2018 to 2021, till about beginning of 2021, April, the end of April, and this was so vital for me. I found that the tools that the city of New Orleans has, especially in the IT department, are just beyond measure. And I really feel like if we were to tap into some of those tools, we could really build a stronger New Orleans. Let me just give you an example. Like, what I would like to see from the city of New Orleans personally, I would like to see, like, when they do the budgeting meetings, everybody can't get to these meetings. I'd love to make these meetings online in some fashion, as well as some interactive way that residents who couldn't make it there can still give their 2 cents. Like, SMS, text messaging, or MMS messages where they could do polls, or, put your top 5, and then you could put what you felt the city should focus on and things like that, especially with regards to the budget and things of that nature, because especially with what was going on with, did the city have money or the city didn't have money, all of that controversy, and they just figured out, well, the city does have money, but they said we were using the funds from COVID and all of that stuff, the funds that we got for A, B, and C. But I know there are a lot of residents, especially in New Orleans, because we are a hospitality city, that a lot of residents work at off times. And so I really feel like we need to offer more options for our residents to get involved, and then we may see a more engaged community. So, my 2 cents would to be like, have, polls and participatory, like, text messaging solutions where from budgeting all the way to, like, road repair, all the way to NOPD and our NOFD and EMS. They don't get enough love. I love our NOFD and our EMS. And just, with regards to our libraries and things of that nature, we know we have a lot of blight in New Orleans. We should be asking our residents, what do they want to do with the city's property, and how, they want it managed. Some people don't want all the apartments and popping up in their neighborhoods, and some people, are looking for more commercial business and things of that nature, or I don't know, just whatever it may be. Or safety and permits, people may want, we've been talking about that for so long, about, really beefing up that department. But until we start, like, screaming it from the bullhorn, like, people just aren't listening. Safety and permits has been underfunded for years, which is why we see the stuff going on around the city. And it's crazy because you don't care until it's that department, right? And so currently it's that department, and it needs some attention. And so they're actually having some retaliation with regards to the mayor right now in safety and permits. So we all need to pay attention to what's going on there and support our neighbors, because our neighbors are the city workers, right? And so they're working there to make sure that we're taken care of. A lot of them are in very tough positions right now. It was in the news that the city council is now putting together a exploratory investigation with regard to all of departments. Departments of Public Works came and sat before them 6 months ago and said that they were being retaliated against the leadership in their department. And, like, they went and sat in front of city council and said, hey, enough is enough. And for them to have the kahunas to do that, to be perfectly honest, I give them their props, because it is not easy to speak up to this administration, because people have lost their jobs, even with regard, they are under civil service, so they have a little bit more protection. Yet the young lady who was in the Office of homelessness affairs. I forget the mayor's office of homelessness. She was under contract, and due to the director there, making advances of her, she lost her job. Now tell me how that makes sense. It doesn't. And so that's my 2 cents about it. And so we really need to be supporting our community and our neighbors, because they work for the city. The city is supposed to be working for us, and it hasn't been. And so when we are more civically engaged, we can see some change in New Orleans. Civic engagement will change New Orleans. This will be a heavy lift to really bring New Orleans forward. And with everything that has been neglected in the past 8 years, it will literally take everybody. So we all need to pay attention in our neighborhoods. We need to get involved in our neighborhood groups, or make your own neighborhood group. Maybe it's just you and your block, whatever it is, start somewhere and get involved. Civic engagement is so important, and knowing the rules of the game is so important. They had something with regard to teaching our high schoolers civics, and them getting, a different tag on their diploma if they pass this certain civics. And, people were talking up and down about it. And I'm like, how can learning civics be a bad thing? If you have some information that I don't know, please let me know. I was raised in a family where, knowing civics and knowing the rules was like, it wasn't even an option. Like, you read everything. My dad was an attorney. And so that's just what we did. He's like, read everything. Everything is in the fine print. Read everything. So that was a big thing. I'm one of those people, I just read everything. I was always a reader, and it just is what it is. But it has helped me to find lots of things. Like, just as an example, during the recall, there was a restaurant who wanted to host us so we could explain what we were, our concerns to residents, so they would understand what we were doing. Well, the person who was leasing the restaurant, their landlord didn't like that we were going to be talking about the recall in their establishment. So they sent them a eviction notice. Y'all, I am not joking. And all of this was like in 24 hours. And so, long story short, I was like, well, let me see your lease. Let me see the information that they sent it. So I read everything. I said, A, B, and C, show this to an attorney and you're going to win. So we supported him 10 toes down. We went, to court. We were in the news behind it and everything. And long story short, I'm not going to get into details because that's his business, but they won. And the point is, reading is essential. When you know the rules of the game, you can win. And so the New Orleans residents, unfortunately, have not known the rules of the game. And honestly, I really believe some of our elected, I'm not saying all, some of our elected officials really like keeping us ignorant, because if we're ignorant, then we're not paying attention to what they're doing. And we just think that everything they're doing is good for us, because that's how they craft their communication styles. But let me let you know, that is not the truth. And how can I tell you this? Because I worked in the communications department for the city of New Orleans, and every message they craft is not the truth, and it is not to your best benefit. So I'm speaking some truth, whether they like it or not, and it just is what it is. And we need to be more discerning and really understand how they navigate words to make it sound good when it's not the truth. And it really is just to give us the okie doke. Let me give you an example. We're having all of this discussion about the trash, uh, uh, the trash contracts, and they're like, oh, why this, that, and the other. And I'm just saying, this is not the first time New Orleans has had a trash contract issue with this administration. There have been trash issues since 2020 with this administration. Let me repeat that. There have been trash issues with this administration since 2020. We are in 2025. We also have one less day a week of trash pickup. So we need to be paying attention to what's going on so we don't get the okie doke and stuck in a bad contract. Hello, New Orleans. So with that being said, if you don't remember, in 2022, Metro dealt with kind of the same thing. This administration, and he said it for himself. He went on and was interviewed by Fox 8 that he felt like the administration had retaliated against him because he did not support the administration in their election. And so the mayor was trying to take the contract from him. And so if you want, everybody's saying that this is a black, white, or racial thing right now. Well, she initially took the contract from Jimmy Woods, who is a black gentleman who was actually very giving in the community with regard to, events and kids programming and just things like that. He was very giving, and he had the largest contract of any Black contractor in the city of New Orleans. So if you want to rah for something, I don't understand why Metro didn't get the support that they should have when the mayor retaliated against him. But now it's the flip version. And when it was taken away from him, it was given to Sidney Torres. And so I'm not saying anything about any of these gentlemen. I'm just saying, look how it switched up on him. Now the mayor is going against Sidney Torres and trying to give it to Troy Henry, who is the cousin of a mayoral candidate, Oliver Thomas. So just looking at politics and being strategic, I mean, Oliver Thomas, it would look really shady if Oliver Thomas gave the trash contract to his cousin. So he would need this administration to do it for him if he thinks he's going to be mayor, right? And so it would be important to push through Troy Henry to be the trash collector previous to the next administration taking over. So that's what this is all about. It really is. And all of the confusion that gets created every time that these changes want to occur, it's just to the detriment of the residents. Residents just want their trash picked up, and they want the city to be clean, and they want it to be done well, and they want it to be done effectively. And, I didn't really appreciate the way that Jimmy Woods was taken out. You can go back and watch it in all of my social platforms. I posted the interview so you can hear it out of his own words and the investigation that was done by Fox. But long story short, the administration basically bankrupted him on purpose. And so there was all of that, the protests by his office. Remember, they were like protesting because they weren't paying the trash collectors their due, and they weren't giving them a livable wage. Well, he couldn't, because the city of New Orleans was under paying him underneath what he was supposed to be paid by $1 million a year. Did I stutter? $1 million a year. Like, where was he supposed to come up with that? The city of New Orleans was supposed to give money in the emergency contract from Ida and COVID, and she chose not to do it. And she just chose to let his business go under because she wanted to use a different contractor. So it is what it is. When you tell the truth, you shame the devil. So you don't have to believe me. Go look it up and get your own information. And that's what faith in politics is all about. We need to really build our faith in our political structure so that we can have a more sound New Orleans. And by engaging civically, we can definitely do that. So with all that being said, the importance of neighborhood engagement, and all of this information, y'all, that I'm reading to you is in my book, Faith in Politics Today. Faith in Politics Today. It is available on Amazon. Go get it. You, your family need it. Everybody needs it, y'all. It's a great source. So, importance of neighborhood engagement and civic engagement. Number 1, promoting inclusivity. Neighborhood engagement ensures that all residents are included in decision-making processes. Historically low income and communities of color have been excluded from many aspects of civic life. Engaging residents at the neighborhood level promotes inclusivity and ensures that policy changes reflect the needs of all residents, especially those who have been left out. And so I believe the people of the Ninth Ward would appreciate this conversation right now. They have the conversation with Stop the Grain with regard to the port. I know they would really encourage neighborhood and civic engagement right now and want everybody to become a part of that. And so that's what this is about. When your neighborhood has something that pops up, you want the city to support you. So if we create a network that already has these fundamental understandings, then we can be stronger together. So there's 4 points. This is number 2. Building trust between communities and institutions. Engaging directly with neighborhoods help build trust between residents and local institutions like city government, law enforcement, schools, and service providers. It encourages transparent communication, collaboration, and accountability, fostering positive relationships that can lead to greater civic participation. There's so many ideas I have with regarding this, but we really need to start putting some of these agencies and their locations, in my opinion, in the communities, back in the communities. They need to be, everybody doesn't have a car in the city of New Orleans. They need to be walking distance closer to our libraries or places where people congregate. Maybe even at our libraries, have more days where, the RTA or Entergy in the city of New Orleans or Safety and Permits, or whatever it may be, ventures out to these locations, and they do regular days where they meet with, have regular communities where residents can come out for maybe 2 or 3 days or a week where, we're going to be in your community this week. I really believe that building these, these relationships can really help New Orleans in the future. So these are just some of my ideas. I'd love to hear your ideas. You can put them in the comments or you can DM me. I do have a lot of people who DM me because sometimes, they don't want to be retaliated against either, if their 2 cents isn't always positive to this administration. So please DM me if you have any ideas, because that's what Faith in Politics is all about. We want to take your ideas. We want to uh, um, share them with, those who are in position to do something about it so that we can create some effective change. So number 3, empowering local communities. What we were just talking about. Neighborhood engagement helps empower residents to take control of their own community development. It allows for grassroots activism and the creation of solutions that are best suited to local needs. When community members participate in discussions about issues that affect them directly, whether it's gentrification, police reform, or access to resources, it strengthens their sense of ownership and commitment to making positive change. So here's the deal. We need y'all. We need to hear you. We need to know what you're thinking. And we need you to be a part of this process. If you are not a part of Faith in Politics, please leave a message underneath. I will DM you the link. You can engage with us. We have a blast that goes out every Tuesday, right before the show. The show is every Tuesday at noon, and I send a blast of information every Tuesday. And so we really just want to engage the community. If you want to be involved, you can just DM me your email. I don't have the little number right in front of me, but I'll get it in just a second to give to you. So if you hold on, I'll get it for you. But last but not least, number 4, improving community well-being. Engaged communities are more likely to work together to address collective challenges, from improving local infrastructure to organizing community events that foster social cohesion. Civic engagement at the neighborhood level leads to healthier, safer, and more sustainable communities where residents are active participants in shaping their quality of life. So, I can attest to this because my dad was in a neighborhood group. It was called BOLD. It was called the Black Organization for Leadership Development. He was one of the presidents at one point in time. My uncle Jim Singleton, was one of the leaders of it as well. He was actually, I believe, one of the first elected leaders that they put into office, which is why BOLD really kind of held the seat of district councilmatic District B until right up until now with Leslie Harris. They had been really active in the community. They have not been active as much, as well as Soul, Coup, Progressive, like all of those. You remember you used to get the ballots at your house that were mailed every election season. These groups used to be in the community. I remember, knocking on doors and doing events with like hot dogs and popsicles and, food drives and book drives, just all kinds of stuff. And we would be at the organization level in the neighborhood on a regular basis. We just don't see that type of neighborhood engagement anymore. And honestly, in my opinion, it's really sad. And so I would love to see it and help it come back in any way that I can, so that New Orleans can be stronger together, because that's literally what it's going to take for us to move New Orleans forward. It is going to take a combined effort, because we have just had so much neglect for so long. I'm trying to say it the nicest I can. We've had so much neglect for so long, and I said it in 2022. I'm here saying it again. I won't stop saying it, because New Orleans deserves better. We just deserve better, and until we get better, I'm not going to start talking. Not stop talking. I hope that I would have seen some more engagement during this election season so far from the people who are willing to put themselves up, but I have not seen that. And so, we're just going to have to do what we have to do. So if you would like to join Faith in Politics, and if you would like to receive these blasts on Tuesdays, you can text JOIN in your email to 504-399-4380. That's text JOIN, the word JOIN, in your email to 504-399-4380. And so I'm also going to take this, I have a little post about it, a little photo, and I'm going to put it in all of my social media platforms after this broadcast. So again, text JOIN in your email to 504-399-4380. So just to give you an example, you would, type in 504-399-4380, and then you put JOIN, and it'll be faithinpoliticstoday@gmail.com. That's the email I use for the podcast. And so that's how you would put it. Just JOIN and the email. And again, you would text JOIN in your email to 504-399-4380. 504-399-4380. And if you want to catch up on any of the episodes that you've missed, they're all consolidated in one spot on our website. But they are also on Apple, Spotify, and all of everywhere that you podcast, it's there. So faithinpoliticstoday.podbean.com. That is faithinpoliticstoday.podbean.com. You can go there, and there's a list of all of the platforms where we podcast. So you can just click whatever platform that you listen to your podcast. We're on YouTube. Yep, we're on YouTube right now, actually. Hey, YouTube. We're on X right now. Hey, X. We're on TikTok right now. Hey, TikTok. And we're also on Instagram right now. So I try to go live on those 4 platforms every Tuesday. And then, of course, you can always hear me later on all of the podcasts on your Apple or, Spotify. Those are mostly people's favorites that I found in the subscription services. But I'm trying to get that information out there. I'm trying to just connect with the residents to let you know that you have a tribe out here that wants to get more civically involved and get civic information. And you can do it right now by getting the book, Faith in Politics Today. It was a labor of love to write this book and to put it together. It is really it's really a bunch of just information, like on all kinds of levels. Let me kind of go through it quickly just to let you know what's in the book. It is called Faith in Politics Today, Empowering New Orleans, a guide to civics, resources, and civic engagement per our New Orleans City Charter. And why per our New Orleans City Charter is so important, because you hear about all of these lawsuits going back and forth between the mayor and the city council. Well, a lot of it is based off of whose power is where, and where is that established? In our city charter. So if you did not know that New Orleans has a city charter, we absolutely do. I break it down in one of the past episodes, so please jump on that. It is probably an episode, either 20 to 22, one of those episodes, probably in one of the first episodes that I did about government. But if you go in there, it will break down the city charter and how we are the way we are, because New Orleans is a city because we have a city charter. So with that being said, the table of contents for the book, we talk about understanding New Orleans government, the executive branch, which is the mayor, who's our chief executive officer, the legislative branch, the city council, which has 7 members, 1 for each council district and 2 at large. We have our judicial court system and judges, in our departments, the offices, which is like the offices of the mayor, boards and commissions. I have podcasts on each one of these. So if you've missed any of these and you want specifically one about one of those topics, I have already done a podcast on that. So I ask you to jump on faithinpoliticstoday.podbean.com, and you can, get information about any of those. Today we discuss civic engagement and a little bit about Give NOLA. So I'll end it with Give NOLA. But we also spoke about New Orleans Bill of Rights in one of our past episodes. So that is fun to know that New Orleans has its own Bill of Rights. If you didn't know it, we 100% do have our own Bill of Rights. And it's interesting to know what's in it, because you'd be like, wait, we're supposed to have that? Yes, there's lots of stuff we're supposed to have that we don't have. It's kind of sad, but if you don't know that it exists, you don't know that we are supposed to be having these services rendered to us by our elected officials, who we elect to, educate us and to to work for us while we're not there. And so unfortunately, there's a lot of work that has not been done because we weren't looking. So now we need to look so we can pay some better attention and we can get New Orleans moving in the right direction. And again, I said it's going to take a heavy lift. So it's going to take all of us working together in our spheres of influence. So if you are in education, we need you. If you are in finance, we need you. If you're in housing, we need you. If you are in safety and permits, we need you. If you are in police enforcement, we need you. If you are in youth programming, oh my gosh, we need you. We have been, I'm actually want to say begging. At this point, we have been begging our elected officials for more money for programming for our youth for years, like absolutely years. And we haven't even seen it. I know people may forget that it happens, but every year we ask for more money for youth programming, and we have not seen it. They say that they're putting New Orleanians first. The mayor puts forth the budget, and the city council approves it. Well, where's the money for our children? Like, where is the money for our children? We'd love to see more money going to like trade schools and programming before our youth get involved in negative things. We have such creative community, and maybe if we can, shift their focus to the things that can be creative and productive for them, we can have a more productive New Orleans. But until we have leaders who focus on those things, it'll be very difficult for that to happen. So we need to pay attention, y'all, and we need to get this moving together. So with that being said, what else is in the book? Oh, suspensions and removals. We talk about how the executive branch and the legislative branch can be removed or suspended from office, and what does that look like? And we talk about recalling elected officials. It's a couple pages on each part of that. I get it directly from the city charter and the state of Louisiana's information, because before we did the recall in 2022, a lot of people didn't even know that a recall was possible. And so, it's just knowing the rules of the game and how we can play the game with the rules so that we can be empowered as residents. What's also in the book is state versus local, what the state is responsible for compared to what our local government is responsible for. And then I have federal versus state versus local, what the federal government is required to do, the state and the local. Like, just to give you an example, I was on social media and I had a lot of people saying or thinking that the governor was the mayor's boss. And I'm like, hold up, the governor is not the mayor's boss. Slow down. So with that, I was like, we need to understand, as well as people were really confused about why the governor could come in and try to remove the homeless encampments from underneath the I-10s. Well, because that's state property. It's the state's job and the Department of Transportation to handle the overpasses and things of that nature. And so we need to understand who does what in New Orleans, and so that we can focus our attention exactly on who is supposed to be doing what. And so the things that New Orleans is supposed to be responsible for, let New Orleans be responsible for. The things that the state is supposed to be responsible for, let the state be responsible for. And the things that the federal government is supposed to be responsible for, let the federal government be responsible for. But if we don't know who does what, then we are fussing at the wrong people. And a lot of times New Orleanians are fussing at the wrong people. So we need to get that information directly from the sources, as well as link up. I have a whole section on link up. What I did was, I know that we are a digital age. And so I pulled up all the links to all of the offices, all the departments, everything you could think of. And I created a whole chapter on it. So you don't have to go look up the information when you need something. It's right here in the book. It's a great resource. Actually, let me see if I can, wait, what page is it? 69. So let me go to page 69 and get it for you. Here we go. It's the link, so you can see it there. Can y'all see it? And then list of helpful links, federal, state, and local links to keep you informed as of March 2025. And so it is a list of helpful links from the federal government, from USA.gov, the White House.gov, Congress, Congress.gov, U.S. Supreme Court, Supreme.Court.gov, Louisiana State Government, Louisiana.gov, the Office of the Governor, the state legislature, legis.la.gov, Louisiana Supreme Court, lasc.org. Let's see, useful links for federal, state, and local information. The city of New Orleans is NOLA.gov. The mayor's office is nola.gov/mayor. The city council is nolacitycouncil.com. The clerk of court is nola.gov/clerk-of-court. New Orleans election information is nola.gov/elections. New Orleans Public School is nolapublicschools.com. I have a list of city services and utilities, all the way from the NOPD 311 to energy, our utility, sewage and water board, our public libraries, our health department, Hano Business Alliance, Tourism and Marketing Corporation. I tried to give you lots of different links to kind of everything you could think of or what you need. I did helpful links to the Office of Motor Vehicles, for the NOLA BA, the New Orleans Chamber, Judicial Services, if you need to go to court, nolamunicipalcourt.org. Housing and homelessness, we did hano.org, Homelessness Response Center, rdh.org. Fairhousing.org if you have any issues with your housing situation. So I try to do a list of helpful links. So if you needed to navigate New Orleans in any way, that you would have that information there as well. Also in the book is how to do business. I do come from a strategic business background, and so I just wanted to put that in there just to help any of our residents who wanted to do business in the city, state, or the federal level. So I have a how to do business on the local level, how to do business on the state level, and how to do business on the federal level. And so all of that is in the book, Faith and Politics Today, Empowering New Orleans, a guide to civics, resources, and civic engagement per our New Orleans City Charter. Y'all, civic engagement is so vital right now. We need all hands on deck. Please pay attention to the news, and not just your legacy news. Please read independent news sources. We have Verite News. We have Big Easy Magazine. We have The Lens. They have the On the Porch podcast, I believe that's called, that partners with a Verite News. Please reach out to these independent agencies, because right now we need them and we need to support them, because they are putting out news that we may not hear everywhere else. The Tulane Hullabaloo and the Loyola Maroon. I found a great article in the Tulane Hullabaloo that I would not have found anywhere in our regular media. And I was pretty surprised that our regular media didn't pick it up, but shout out to Tulane for doing so. WWNO also puts out great information that you will not find sometimes on your regular news station. So please venture out, get information from more than one source, because if you're just getting it from the mayor's office, I'm telling you, you're not getting good information. Why? Because I work there. I'm not telling you something I don't know. I'm telling you they will twist information, and I've watched them twist information to make it sound good for you, so you'll digest the medicine well. But it is what it is, and we need more people with who know the rules so they can play the game. Unfortunately, we do have to play the game because our elected officials do not have our back in all aspects. You know, they may have a certain group's back, but the majority, that is much to be. Anyway, back to the point. To subscribe, I'm going to end today's show, and I just really appreciate everyone for supporting Faith in Politics. We had a hiatus last week, after I did the testimony of the shooting. It was really a lot, to be perfectly honest, and I'm just really grateful and thankful for the outpouring of support for myself and my son through our healing journey. And I just want to let you know that we are doing well. God has been good to us, and we are alive and kicking. And when the Lord saves you from over 40 shots, you should definitely use your voice and speak up. And so that is exactly what I'm going to do. And I will continue to do. You've seen me do it during the recall. And so I will probably get a little bit more loud during over time. But that's what we need to do to make our voices heard. We need to just join together so that we can have a stronger New Orleans. So with that being said, please text JOIN in your email, again, to 504-399-4380. Text JOIN in your email to 504-399-4380 to join Faith in Politics. You will receive an email every Tuesday, and that is just to inform you about what we're talking about on the podcast if you missed it. Today's information was about civic engagement and the importance of it and how you can get involved in the city's civic engagement. And last but not least, give NOLA Day. Give NOLA Day. is next Tuesday, May 6th. Give NOLA Day is next Tuesday, May 6th, but their early giving starts today. So if you know someone who is a giver, if you are a giver, we really encourage you to please go on Give NOLA Day. You can just type that right in and give to Don't Stop Dreaming. Type in Don't Stop Dreaming. It's like a little red stop sign. They are a community 501c3 who has an enrichment program for at youth risk. They try to show them what a dream realized can be. So they've taken them on trips to Memphis to show them some of their history. They got to even meet with the mayor of Memphis. They have gone to museums. They have gone, some of these children have never even been to the aquarium, y'all. So it was like their first trip to the aquarium. I got to go on that trip with them. It was really amazing. I went on one of the trips when they went to the state capitol, and we got to go meet the governor's wife, and she gave them cookies, and they got to rock in the rocking chairs at the governor's mansion. And then they went to the state capitol, and they got to meet their legislators and things of that nature. And some of these young men and women and young ladies had never had these opportunities before, and had never even left the city of New Orleans. So this has been a great opportunity for them. They've been learning about STEM. I know Coach Derek, who runs the program, has already reached out, and they're going to the planetarium this summer, and they're doing all kinds of fun stuff. But it's really to engage the youth and let them know that their dreams can be realized. They always do. They always feed the homeless, and in their one of the flyers, they have Mike Pearlstein actually came out to interview them when we were out there under the bridge feeding the homeless. So they really do wonders with the young men and women in the program. They've seen some real growth. And so I just want to encourage you that if you are a giver, if you know anyone who is, please reach out and give to Don't Stop Dreaming. They are trying to grow their programming year round. I can't tell you what they're doing yet, but you're going to be so excited. So please give just the opportunities are boundless, and they have been based out of Harrell, which is like uptown, and that's where my son played football. So that's how the connection grew there. And so Harrell for life. Anyone that knows anyone who ever played at Harrell, I encourage you to support Don't Stop Dreaming and to share their information. If you can't donate, but anything helps. $1 helps, $5 helps, $2,000 helps, whatever you want to do. I know Coach Derek and the kids over there will appreciate it. And this is one of those organizations where your money really does go to the children. It really, really does. And so that's what I love to see. And I know this summer they are going to be learning about civics, and so they will all be getting a book so they can share it with their families and get some information with regard to New Orleans so that they can be educated, so when they are older that they can be the leaders in our city and be our next generation, because they will have learned the rules to the game while they were younger, right? And so that's what we just want to encourage in all of our youth in New Orleans and all of our residents, just to learn the rules of the game so that we can all be stronger together. So that's what Faith and Politics is all about. So I want to thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate each and every one of you. I'm going to say it one last time. If you do want to join the blast that's sent out every Tuesday, you can text JOIN in your email to 504-399-4380. And you can find me at faithandpoliticstoday.podbean.com. That is faithandpoliticstoday.podbean.com. And the book is available on Amazon now. So please go support. It's been a wild ride. We will continue to speak up. It's crazy because a couple days ago, I saw the video of myself speaking up at the Capitol with regard to the recall, and I really had it was a whirlwind, y'all. And so seeing that video and just watching it again, it really just stirred it back up in me that we really need to speak out, especially now. If we need our voices heard, if we are not heard during this election, we will be ignored. So we will not let that happen. We will speak up, and we will take care of the residents of the city of New Orleans. You have my word. I will be speaking up. So thanks so much for your support, and please just continue to do what you can do in your sphere of influence. Thanks so much, y'all.